I'm Luke Story. For the past 22 years, I've been relentlessly committed to my deepest passion, designing the ultimate lifestyle based on the most powerful principles of spirituality, health, psychology, and personal development. The Lifestylist Podcast is a show dedicated to sharing my discoveries and the experts behind them with you. Gurudev, welcome to the Lifestylist Podcast.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, it's such an honor to meet you. Now, I know we have a brief period of time in which I have so many questions to ask you. So I'm going to try and cherry pick some of my favorite ones. But I want to start with your early life. When did you get the sense that your dharmic path in life had to do with spirituality?
Spirituality was like fish to water for me. So from the very beginning, from my childhood, I was deeply engrossed in it.
Was this part of your family system or something that you just gravitated toward?
Yeah, but though my family was spiritual, but they were not anything into it as much as I had. In fact, they were trying to wean me away from it, my mother especially, because she was a little scared that I might just renounce and go away.
Right. You might wander off to the Himalayas and live in a cave and forget about your family.
Yeah.
I'm so curious, as I was telling you before we recorded, I've always been fascinated by the fact that so many enlightened beings and mystics in this time period over the past couple hundred years have come from India. You know, you have Maharaji, the Maharishi, Muktananda, Ramana Maharshi. I mean, just on and on, legitimate high consciousness beings, and yet you don't see a bunch of them coming from Italy or Africa or different places. Maybe they're there and we don't know. Do you have any sense of why in this time period so many mystics have emerged from there?
Yeah. See, maple trees are found in Canada more. You see that olives you can get not everywhere, in some places. So nature has its own, perhaps time and space has its own dimension, its own equations. But I tell you, there have been saints also from Assisi, from Middle East, from Jerusalem, from those areas, and there have been saints in North America as well. If you walk around in Quebec and you find all the streets named after saints. So, yes, the non-dual philosophy of India is very unique, and it has its roots there, which is universal. The thought that whole world is one family originated from India, no doubt. And so it's a speciality there that people are more attuned to this philosophy and knowledge, enlightenment.
And have you ever explored why it seems that so speaking of, this lineage of mystics, they have been predominantly male. And I've always wondered, just speaking of India specifically, you have Amma the hugging saint, you have Amma and Bhagavan. I'm sure there are others that I'm not aware of. One spiritual teacher that I've studied quite a bit gave the opinion or belief that there are perhaps more males that reach higher states of consciousness, and I'm going to piss off some women here. This is not me, but it has to do with the male nervous system being able to sort of withstand more power.
No. I disagree with that.
Okay.
For the spirit, there is no male or female. In fact, each one of us is made up of both mother and father. Inside you, there is a male. Inside you, there is a female. The spirit is different from the physical appearance, body level. So when you go to the subtler aspect of yourself, see, in breath, there is no male breath and female breath. You see, gender is limited to our body. And to some extent, it has its shadow on the mind too. But beyond that, the spirit or God is beyond gender.
Right. I've wondered that that perhaps the females that have had spiritual knowledge and wisdom maybe haven't been as vocal about it, or have been
Oh yeah,
suppressed or not recognized, maybe, right?
there has been many female saints in India. Andal was South India was one in the 12th century, and Meera was there. She was acknowledged by everyone. Even today, the songs of Meera is all over the place. So there has been saints in Kashmir also. There was the saint. So yes, um, you don't have to be saint for the whole population. Uh, they could be taking care of their family, their circumstance, their surroundings. I see a saint hiding in maybe every grandmother.
Right, right. You know, I've had experiences where I think generally people we tend to put people on pedestals as like our teacher or savior, and so there's these enlightened or exalted beings, and we sometimes view them as having something that we don't possess, right? And then I've had experiences wherein I've met just a householder, regular person, and they seem enlightened to me, right? They figured it out. They found the key to joy
Yeah, yeah.
and liberation,
See, there
and
are
no one knows except
yeah,
one that can see, maybe.
there are two roles. One is to realize oneself, to get enlightened. Another aspect is to able to convey that to people, convey to millions. These are two different roles that one. When Raman Maharshi was alive, very few people knew about him. But then people who got the knowledge, wisdom from him, then they started sharing with everybody. Then one comes to know about it. So, to finding the unconditional love within you is one aspect, and the ability or the role to give that to everyone is a second thing. So, being a teacher has its, or a master has its own uh, specific role.
Got it.
So, not everybody need to be that.
Right. Someone
Mm.
could be enlightened humbly and quietly and not necessarily have the same role as teaching or carrying that
Teaching, and
on.
yeah,
Got
yeah.
it. What's the deal with reincarnation? I have had the sense in numerous mystical experiences in my life that I've been here many, many times before on this path of seeking God. What is your perspective, or the Vedic perspective on reincarnation?
Oh yeah, it is there. I know. I know. I've been here before.
And
Reincarnation, uh, today you can't deny it. Even science has recognized that. You have past life regression therapy as one of the therapies in many, psychological labs and clinics. They use it, and parapsychology has become part of, research institutes around the world. It is there, yeah.
and
Like the thoughts and emotions, your desires and fears, anxieties, they go with you. Those impressions go with your spirit, and you come right back when the opportunity is there to release them.
do you think that our individual soul that keeps coming back and reincarnating in different bodies with different circumstances, do you have the sense or anything that that soul has evolved through different, like a hierarchy of species, starting from a bacteria to
Mm.
fungus to shellfish to gopher to deer to human,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing?
yeah, yeah.
Is there any truth to that? Or do you think that there's just different planes of souls and we're in the human soul plane?
No, there is a progression from one life to another life. Yes. One form of, one species to another species. Yes.
And do you know how long in between, generally, human incarnations we exist in the non physical?
In between lives, you
Yeah.
mean? How long we hang out there?
Yeah. So when I drop this body, how long am I going to hang out in the etheric realm before I
It's
pop back in?
yeah, yeah. There is no criteria. There is no exact. You cannot say that exactly you will come after 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. totally variable.
Right.
You can come maybe in 10 days' time, or you may not come for 1,000 years.
And I've heard some teachers indicate that it's at around the 90-day point at which a soul enters the embryo or the fetus.
There are three possibilities. One is at the time of conception. The second is when the embryo is formed very well at that time. That's about fourth month or fifth month time. And then the third is sometimes even at the time of birth,
Really? Do you,
just before the birth.
wow. Do you think it's possible that one soul could embody an embryo and then change its mind in a sense, and someone new comes in?
Yes.
Really? This information. So I'm asking you these questions that are obviously age old, just questions that humanity has yearned to have answers for. Do the answers that you arrive at come from within, from meditation or text or teachings that you've
Absolutely.
read, or?
Absolutely. They just, we just, you know, any intuitive knowledge that we all have, or we are just downloading them. They say our brain just downloads those information. And then whether it is authentic or not, that scriptures are there to look into that.
Right. And
Because then, sometimes your own imagining, you can be in your own imagination and a trip of what we call it yoga maya. It's an illusion of yoga. You can have your own um, imaginations, sneak into it. To avoid that, you also have to look into the um, tested documents from long time. Yeah.
because one could have an attachment to the outcome that they desire, right? I'm just going to, oh, my intuition is telling
Yeah,
me,
yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
or that, right?
It needs authentication. That comes from the scriptures.
Got it. And what I've arrived where I've arrived in my understanding and how I make sense of life is that I have the sense that I incarnated here as sort of a spiritual school, this earth school, with the opportunity to undo what could be best described, I guess, as negative karma, and to earn positive karma and to evolve as the soul.
No. Don't take it all too seriously.
Okay.
You have come here to play a role.
Okay.
Have fun.
Okay. It can't be that simple. No.
Yeah, you have come here to celebrate life. You're not come here to do something very hard and, go somewhere. It's like a playground. The life is like a play. It's a stage wherein you go, you take a role and you play the role, you play it well and you come back.
Well, in this play, it seems to be inherent with so much suffering for so many people. Are these people that have not yet realized that it is a play and that it is a game,
Yes. You forgot it's a play.
and that's
And
the root of the
and this is the
suffering?
first realization one gets when one leave the body. Hey, come on, I was in the game there. You know, if you watch a soccer game and the people who feel they are losing, they are so stressed up there. Correct? Their aim is to get their goal, um, to win the game. And many times they find themselves in a space mm, that looks as though it's a matter of life and death for
Yeah, especially my British friends. They're very much that way.
them.
You see them with this scowl on their face. Man, what's wrong? Did somebody die? No, my team lost. Manchester lost or whatever, who cares, But
Yeah,
yeah, but we all, I think can at times take ourselves too
too
seriously and
seriously.
and forget that it is a game.
Because we have no context to life. We should have a broader context. Now you're talking about bigger context. Yeah, we have come here many times. And We will continue coming here. This is a so this awareness itself is not there, and we don't even look back at our own life experiences, which one gives us more confidence to move forward. See, if you're worried, then you don't look back and say, hey, I was worrying like this 10 years back, 5 years back, and I'm still alive, I'm okay, everything, I'm doing well. Why do I worry again? This this thought doesn't get kindled in one because we don't look back. It's so interesting to see life from a limited perspective and at the same time see it from a broad perspective with a bigger context.
Is there a level of consciousness at which a soul doesn't find it necessary to reincarnate into the human experience again? Is there an ascension ladder of sorts where
Mm,
you kind
Yeah,
of get to a
once
point where there's no need to be here
yeah,
anymore?
once you're free, you're not compelled to come back. But if you wish, you can come back.
Do you think some souls come back solely to be of service
Oh
and
yeah,
carry the
right
good
one
word?
sitting here with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we come here to do something. Okay, we want to do this. But so we come.
So you do all of this incredible humanitarian work in the world. I mean, you're on this. Your team was telling me about your touring schedule. It sounds quite grueling. You're going to all these cities, doing all these talks, other interviews. I'm presuming, and you're doing much good in the world. Yet, like I'm always I like to do good in the world as well, right? But then I go back to I think it was Ramana Maharshi who said, the world you see doesn't even exist, right? So I see these problems in the world and I want to go stop wars and fix these problems, yet the world that I see is largely based on my perception of it. It's a projection of what I think it is and should be. And I'm always trying to reconcile kind of doing good in the world and yet knowing that the world is how it should be and it's up to God.
Yeah, that keeps you sane. If you get so entrenched in it, then you can't smile even. You'll you get into that maya, that illusion. But when you know the truth, then nothing stops you, nothing bothers you. You are just in your element, and you're not making an effort to show your compassion or love. You are that, so you can't but express it. See, it's in your nature.
So it's not so much fighting against
It's
evil and
not doing
fighting
something.
poverty, fighting
No,
suffering,
no.
kind of, it's a different energy.
No, it's a different. It's a from completely different space where you are just there and let things happen.
Would you say that your approach then is spiritually is more about just acknowledging what's already present rather than striving after some spiritual goal?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
There are different levels. When for a beginner, they should have a goal. They should get into this path. Once you're on the path, you have to relax. Like, when you want to catch a train, you have to make an effort to get into the train. But once you are in the train, you have to put down your luggage and relax. No point in running inside the train. It doesn't get you any faster.
that's good. That's good.
So, till the plane takes off, you have to get to the plane. I mean, you have till you catch the flight. You have to make your effort. So, life is a combination of both effort and effortlessness. At some point, you have to make effort. As you said, you came out of the drug. Yeah. If you say, let things happen how it is, and it can destroy your body. At some point, you said, no, I don't want drug, but I want something higher. But why do, in the first place, I go to drugs? Because I'm not just satisfied with what I get through the five senses. Because my soul's hunger is to see something beyond the five senses, not seeing, touching, smelling. This is not enough. Yeah, it gives some pleasure, but you're not satisfied by that.
In using drugs as an escape and that in that way.
Drugs, you are looking for some higher um, states of consciousness or elevation of mind
Yeah.
or the spirit.
That's another
But
thing.
when you can get that just by meditation with you using your own breath and by, as you said, Shaktipat or transfer of energy, why would you go for something which would cause harm to you?
Well, I think in my case, there was just a lot of unresolved trauma,
Unresolved trauma.
right? That is like I needed
Yeah, yeah,
anesthesia,
yeah,
really.
yeah.
But on that note, one thing I was also curious about is in different cultures around the world and on continents like Africa and South America, historically, native and indigenous people have used plant medicines, ayahuasca, mushrooms, different hallucinogenic, psychedelic things in order to, heal their traumas and to connect with spirit. And yet, it seems, according to my research, that this has not been largely part of the culture in Indian spirituality. And subjectively in my life, although I meditated for many years and was very devoted spiritually, there were certain traumas and things that I couldn't seem to overcome
Hmm.
until I found those medicines, and they've been, incredibly transformative and healing for
Hmm.
me. I'm curious
Hmm.
your perspective on the not using drugs recreationally, but the intentional ceremonial use of substances of that nature.
See, when there is much easier way to alter our chemistry within us just by your breathing and some other practices. You don't need to depend on substances which are out there. Yes, in the Yoga Shastra, it is said some herbs do elevate you, give you calm and composture in the mind. But you have to also see what impact it has on our physiology later on. If we are so dependent on the medicines or drugs outside, it can make you more dependent on something. Otherwise, you can't even get into this state. Now, here you want freedom from everything, or from all dependence. See? That is where you prefer to just get into meditation deeper. And no need to escape. Why you want to escape? You want, this is painful. Some thoughts, some experiences of the past are painful. Now, instead of trying to escape that sensation, you observe, go through it, you will see they just disappear. This is what we do in the silence retreats. I often give silence retreats all over the world. There people come with all type of trauma, even from this war, you see, after the war veterans and people who want to commit suicide, they all come, they just, that 4, 5 days of silence, complete relief from traumas. And they go back happily. You know?
Yeah, I guess that's, part of that. Say someone's had a lot of trauma or suffering and they find spirituality as a solution. There is there not a risk of like spiritual bypass, right? Of just everything's great, I'm happy, be kind, be compassionate, yet there's this whole suitcase of stuff that you're lugging around kind of in your subconscious that hasn't been addressed.
No, then that doesn't last too long. This is mood making when you go to some party and just sing some, be in a rock music and say, oh, yeah, I felt very good. You go for some counseling and you feel there is a temporary wellness that comes on to you. That's not enough. You have to go deep in meditation and cleanse all those karma, remove all those impressions. And that's what the meditation silence program does.
So when you're taking these multiple days of silence and deep inner
It
meditation, then it's
just,
creating space.
yeah, it creates space and
Yeah.
relieves you of all those baggage you are mentioning about. Just gets you rid of that.
And when you talk about and recommend meditation, is there a particular style? I know I've done Vedic
Yeah,
meditation for a long time, or what type of meditation do you
yeah.
teach? Or
There are a number of meditations we teach. Basic thing is Sudarshan Kriya, the sky breathing technique. With that, then we have such samadhi meditation, and has given number of different types of meditation, which suits many different mindsets.
So in deeply meditative experiences, I've observed myself as the witness observer of the phenomenon of me as a personality, as a persona. You know, you are able to kind of dissociate from the mind and the ego part of yourself. And then beyond that, there seems to be this interdimensional quantum realm that is there and accessible through those practices.
Yeah.
Uh, in that realm, at times, I've experienced the presence of other beings. Do you think that there are, I don't want to call them aliens, but have you experienced
Yeah, yeah, there are,
interdimensional
yes,
entities and
yes, yes,
beings?
there are, there are devas, there are several levels of beings that are out there, but they're all part of our own consciousness. So you don't feel separate from them when you really know them. So it's all like there is Vibgaya, um, 7 colors in the sun rays. Like that, in the universal consciousness, there are many flavors. And so they are called the divine impulses of our own consciousness. Yeah. It's, it's a very, very fascinating, interesting phenomenon. Spiritual realm is not a dull, boring, stagnant state where you just sit and become empty and then go along with your life. It's a journey which tickles you and uprises, you know, um, completely new dimension to our life. So it makes your life here very rich in the sense there is abundance in all those values that you cherish. See, there is compassion, there is friendliness, there is love, and you don't feel any sense of lack at all or loneliness. And that's why I said there's the first step you take. One more thing I would like to say is this: spirituality is like an ocean. It's up to you what you want to pick up from that. You can just go for a stroll on the beach. You can go for scuba diving. You can go take oil out of it. Like that. The
It's funny.
it is unlimited. The possibilities are unlimited. But I feel life begins with this this opening. Before that, one simply exists, taking care of some small things around. But when the opening happens, that's when the life begins, because you are access to many dimensions.
In terms of the menu options one has when in spiritual pursuit, for someone who has identified as their calling self realization and enlightenment, what is the path toward that?
First and foremost is the get rid of stress and tension, anxiety, depression. You must be away from these things. And aggressive mindset, that also is not suitable at all. So, to get out of all this, we have to know about our own breath, our own body. We have 7 layers to our existence: body, breath, mind, intellect, memory, ego, and then the self. Self is the seventh one. To realize self, we need to uh, get an idea about all these other aspects of us. And with this, then it's by grace that you are open to a new dimension. So you do your effort, but then what comes to you comes to you. It depends on.
Right. So yeah, it really is, as you indicated earlier. It's kind of that that balance of striving and allowing. Right. There's a certain intention and maybe even actions
Yeah, yeah.
one must take. Otherwise, someone used to say it like this to me. They said, you can sit in the closet all day long. And pray to God to put hot dogs through the keyhole. At some point, you got to open the door if you want to eat. Something like that. I probably botched it,
Yeah,
but
see, now this window is there. You can keep the curtains on, and even when the sun is there, you will find it dark inside. But if you open the window in the night and say, "Though no sun there, no sun is going to come and it's going to come." But you have to keep the window open, right? In the same way here, there is certain amount of self-effort that is needed. And after that, it's only patience. You wait. And then whatever you had to get, you'll get it.
yeah, I
Okay?
think it's kind of inherent to Western culture to push and strive and work, and when that's applied to spirituality, it ends up being counterproductive in some way, right? Like, I'm going to get enlightened today. It's like maybe it's about putting in appropriate effort and then leaving the
And
results to
then,
God,
right,
right?
yeah.
It's like,
And then let go.
yeah. What's your take on?
See, in love,
Yeah.
love is all about letting be and letting go, not trying to pull and possess. Love is the trust, yes. I am here. I want nothing. I do nothing. I am nothing. These principles is good enough for someone to rise to higher levels. Yeah.
My next question, you alluded into the topic of love, and in romantic love, what's the spiritual approach to human sexuality of, you know, just having sex versus making love, and the energetics of how we can most appropriately, interact with people on that level?
See, the sex is a need of the body and it stays from some age to some age. It doesn't continue with you forever, or it was not there before you were 10-year-old. See? But love is your very nature. That is nature of your spirit. And a small expression of love could be in the form of sex. So sex is neither bad nor it is good, no, it's not the ultimate everything, and it's not bad either. So, but you see that there is an aspect in you which is much higher, that you feel that same joy, bliss, and without having to do an action.
Mhm.
That is samadhi. That is blissful meditation. I mean, it's a very great subject and big subject if you go into it. I mean, we can keep talking what samadhi is. In fact, in the ancient rishis' words, samadhi is described in units of sex. Like 1 unit of sex is how much bliss you get. Samadhi is 1,000 such units.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
1,000 sex.
interesting.
Sahasrarati means 1,000 units of that joy, the pleasure you get, is what you get in a moment of samadhi. So we have to see life from a very different perspective, bigger perspective. Then you see that our body is a tiny part of our consciousness.
Yet it's so easy to get consumed with the desires of the body, the needs of the body, the
Yeah.
distraction. I mean, even in the industry that I'm in, I have conversations around consciousness, but also around physical health and biohacking and all of this stuff. And I've observed within myself how at times being so wrapped up in being physically healthy can be a distraction. from actually just being present,
No, no.
you know?
But see, we usually swing to the extremes. Either we ignore our body totally and
Mhm.
not care for it, or we are so caught up in it. I would say go with the middle path. Body has its needs. Take care of body. Have good food. Have good rest. Exercise. All that is necessary for the body. But that is not the end. There is something more. And when you are sharing yourself with everybody, then the real unconditional love in life dawns, blossoms. Then all the small needs of yours doesn't even matter to you. See? When you have mission, when you have a vision, then you see tiny needs, small things, just they go to the background.
Yeah, I've heard so many stories about, again, back to some of the Indian saints and mystics, about Yogananda and Maharishi and these different characters wherein
See,
they would barely sleep or eat food, like
uh,
they're living in a totally different kind of plane of
yeah, yeah,
reality.
the body doesn't require much, doesn't require much. But at the same time, I'm telling you, we should not ignore when, see, Lord Mahavir, he just ate only few days in a year. But if someone tried to imitate that, they're harming their own system.
Right.
So we have to be very natural.
What's your sleeping schedule like? I'm curious.
3 hours.
3 hours a night?
Mm.
And you have energy to go on tour and
Oh
do all
yeah,
these. Ah,
yeah.
see, you got something figured out. All right. I'm gonna listen back to this interview 10 times. Like, what was it? Because I've noticed that with
Sometimes I get even
yeah,
2 hours.
really. And you still feel functional
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
vital and all that.
Hmm.
Wow, that's incredible. Do you think that for some of us that perhaps we're burning up energy, taking life too seriously, and that's why we need 7 or 8 hours?
No, no, no. We don't need to. Just if the body needs that much, we should give it. Sometimes I do sleep for 6 hours, 5 hours, once in a while. So just to make sure that I am not in any, I have the capacity to sleep longer too.
Right.
So you don't suffer from insomnia. It doesn't amount to that. So when you do pranayam, meditation, or you have something important to do, then you get energy in from other sources. So meditation gives you energy.
I've heard it said that 20 minutes of a deep meditation is equivalent to 3 hours sleep, or
Yeah,
different equations
five,
like that.
6 hours of sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you find in your daily life now that you're still keeping up with your meditation practice? Is it regimented or just kind
No,
of
no regimented. For me, walking, talking, sitting, talking, it's all meditation only.
right? Would you say then that, again, I don't want to frame it as a goal, but
Mm.
it seems to me that, as you said, getting on the plane, getting on the train, right? Doing some work to arrive there, but then at a certain point,
I'm at home. I have nowhere to go. I tell
right.
you.
So perhaps it's, you know, getting to arriving at a place where your life is a prayer, your life is a
Yeah, yeah,
meditation,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I like that
Don't
perspective,
need to do anything.
right?
But still I sit, because then I have no right to tell others to meditate if I don't.
Good point.
So I do sit for meditation, though I need not have to do.
Good point. All
Okay.
right. All right. Listen, I got one last question for you. I know you got to go get on a plane and continue your tour of the United States here. Welcome, by the way, and thank you for gracing us with your presence in this country and on this podcast. My last question is, who are three teachers or teachings that have influenced your life that you could share with us?
I was, I can't say that some particular person has influenced me totally, or I changed, I transformed, because from my childhood, I had this, you know, um, vision. But of course, I had association of many saints in my teenage, especially. And my mother, of course, was very uh, spiritual. She was very spiritual too. So I was, in my teenage, I spent time with Maharshi Mahesh Yogi and Anandmayi Ma. So like that saints, Maharshi ji picked me up um, when I was a student, and because I knew Vedic literatures, so he asked me to come. He used to ask me to chant and go on Vedic science too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. And he was conducting Veda and science conferences, so he used to ask me to participate in those talks with the scientists, and because I was both a student of science and Vedic literature, so I was very interested. But I see, when you are awake, you can get lessons from everything. And it's more of unlearning than learning.
Mm,
Spiritual
yeah.
knowledge is not learning from something from somebody. It's more how you can learn to unlearn.
Dude, mic drop. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming by
Okay.
today.
Lovely.
That's a beautiful ending note there. It's about unlearning, folks, not getting more, but perhaps getting rid of the things that are no longer valid or true.
Yeah. Not get stuck in the informations that you get. Become hollow and empty. There you are.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, lovely. Eyes closed. Now you don't need to listen to my instruction intentively. Just listen to it like you would listen to a music. Relaxed. And never mind even if you miss some instructions. Your mind may drift away, never mind. It's okay to get drifted. Eyes closed, body relaxed. Remember the weight of your body, whatever it is. 60 kilos or 130 pounds, 190 pounds, whatever is the weight of your body, just remember this. We came into this world weighing just 7 pounds or 8 pounds. Today we weigh 130 pounds, 150 pounds. Place the weight of your body on the chair you are sitting. Rather, just pay attention. The chair you are sitting is carrying the weight of your body. At this point, recollect your age, whatever it is, 50, 60, 70. Those many years are past. And another 30, 40, 50 years, we will continue in the body, and then it gets back to the nature, to the earth. Our body has billions and trillions of cells. Let us honor our own body. It's the most precious gift to us from nature, from God. Let's honor our own body. Let's take our attention to the top of the head and relax your head. And relax your forehead and eyebrows and eyes. And take your attention through your whole body like a viscous fluid, like a honey, slowly coming to the back of the head. Relax the brain and your ears. Cheeks. And gently come down to your chin and throat. Bring your attention down to your chest and shoulders. Take your time. Let's keep a big smile on our face and allow the smile to percolate through the whole body. And your shoulders and hands, palms, the thorax region, relax, your hips and legs. Honor your own body. Is the most amazing and beautiful gift to us. Let us honor our own body. Let's move on to the second dimension, the breath. It's the breath that is keeping this body alive. From the time we came into this planet till our departure, our dear friend, companion is our breath. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Another deep breath in and slowly let go. Like fish in the water, we are in air. Become aware of the air all around the body and inside the body. And continue to take long, deep breaths. Incoming breath energizes the body, while outgoing breath brings relaxation. Let's become familiar with this phenomenon. It's happening all the time. The breath energizes every cell of our body and it relaxes too. Let's take 5 long, deep breaths and slowly breathe them out. Feeling the relaxation with every exhalation. Let's move on to the third dimension of our mind. Our body is like the wick of a candle. Our mind is like the glow all around it. Our body is inside the mind. As you relax, the mind expands, and vice versa. As you become aware of vastness, your body finds relaxation. Another deep breath in with a smile. Hold the breath and let go. Whatever thoughts are coming in the mind, just let them come. Good thoughts, bad thoughts. They come and they go on their own. Let them come. Embrace all the thoughts. Another deep breath in and let go. Let's become aware of the walls of this hall. Become aware of the ceiling and the volume of this entire heart. Let's relax our body. Leave your hands free. Let go of all your efforts. Let go of all your efforts. This moment, there's nothing to do and nothing to know either. Let your mind expand more and become aware of the vast sky. And let go of all your efforts. Repose in yourself with a smile. Let go of all your efforts. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You are peace. You are peace. You are. Om. 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 Shanti. 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 And slowly and gradually become aware of your body and surroundings. And you may gently open your eyes. Take your time.